Hola. I have been, this is like the fourth take that I've tried to do of this. So, probably just going to power through this one. Working on the photo album. The cat has been irritating. I had a horrible glare on the last take when I started turning pages. The lighting's just not good tonight. And I just felt inspired to do this tonight. So I just figured I'd knock it out. So not a lot has happened with the photo album since the last time I filmed. I put some photos in. I put this sticker on the front. I just decided I needed to get caught up to date. And I still had photos from last year that needed to go in. So yeah, I picked this sticker up at the Kitchener, Ontario show and slapped that on the front of it. You've seen the photo album before if you've tuned in to the last video. So I'm not really gonna, go into detail on any of the photos that I talked about the last time. But I just love the crab walk or whatever you call it, the hair flips. Danny's just look. I'm a Danny fanboy. I can't help it. I love them all, but I am a Danny fanboy for sure. Oh, and then also, just Jen. She shouted me out. She just recently did another The Warning reaction, and she shouted me out for like the third or fourth time since this concert a year ago. She has a duplicate of this photo, and she mentioned in the comments that that she has her duplicate copy of this in a professionally framed display case or shadow box or whatever, with all the memorabilia that she got from this show and I believe a show where they opened for Hailstorm. And she's just a sweetheart. It's so nice that she remembers me after a whole year. And I hope to see her again at another show. So we've seen all these. I'm not gonna do a rehash of the stuff that we've seen. I'm flipping sometimes 2 or 3 pages at a time here. Oh, do love those. That's worth showing again. The big hair flip. Gotta love Danny. Now, I'm not sure what I had. I think these photos were not in the book yet. I think starting with the Sound of Music Festival, these were in a stack. And I was still going through them. I printed this off the Sound of Music Festival website, and I Googled this. This is an overhead. If you have never been to the Sound of Music Festival in Burlington, if you live anywhere near Ontario, like northeastern United States, whatever, go. Just go. It doesn't matter who's playing. It's worth it. That festival is amazing. They're on one of the Great Lakes right here. Downtown is over here. All the nightlife of downtown is over here. And then there's this park. There's a stage over there. There's a stage over here. There's carnival for kids. There's beer tents and food trucks. And just, it is such a cool location. I've been to several festivals since The Warning started touring again. I think I've been to, I want to say 5 or 6 festivals, and that's the most memorable one for sure as far as location. It's just really cool. And there are 2 stages, 4 bands per stage per day for 4 days, and just can't recommend it highly enough. It was. I'm gonna go back someday, no matter who's playing, and just spend 4 days there. So here's some pictures of POW from that festival, and I'm sorry about the glare. I'm just having, part of it's the plastic covering. It's just, it doesn't make for good photography or recording. But great hair flip by Danny. Love that photo. This photo right here of Ale. This one, love that one. That's like an iconic, just one of my favorite photos I've ever taken of her. And then like I said, I always include the photos that they take and they post on Facebook of them, the crowd shot. For whatever reason, they were in a hurry. They went way over on their sound check at this show. And they were in a hurry to get off stage because they actually, even though they cut a couple songs from their set, they actually ran over. So they didn't take the photo of them facing the camera. That's the only photo they took from that show with the crowd. Sun was just setting. It was blazing hot that day, but so worth it. And I ran into a lot of people that I know at that show. And again, you've seen some of these photos they were in stacks when I did my last video about the photo album, but these are actually in the album now. It's Rob, Max, Hela, me with the girls, Carlos, tuning Ali's bass, and Danny's black PRS that she took to Canada with her. These are the only 3 photos that turned out of Pau. She was, in that club, there was almost no lighting at the back of the stage. And so it was like secondary light, and I'm zooming in and it's grainy and it didn't turn out well. And that happens a lot with her, unfortunately. She's even mentioned that it's really difficult for people to take good photos of her at some shows. And this was one of those shows. Got some great close-ups of Danny at this show. Actually, Danny was the most photogenic at this show that I've ever seen her. And I know I said I'm a Danny fanboy, but I try to take an equal number of pictures of all 3 of them, and I generally do. And I did at this show. Those 3 photos right there are not the only 3 photos that I took of Pau. I took a lot of photos of Pau. Those are the only 3 that were worth posting. Ale, I think there were more that turned out well, but Danny, my God, the photos I took of Danny at this show these were literally lying on the table as you see them in this photo album. Like, they were just lying there, and I picked them up and I put them down and I pulled up the little plastic thing and laid it over them, and I didn't even have to do anything with them. Just great photos of Danny at that show. And I got quite a few of Ali as well. But Danny, for whatever reason, Danny was just amazing that night. Like it just seemed like every other photo that I took of her was she was just photogenic. And that happens sometimes. And then, okay, so I did not take this photo. Naz, who's holding the set list, I may have mentioned this in the last video as well. He got a copy of the set list handed to him personally by Danny, which almost never happens. Usually Rudy hands out copies of the set list. He was recording, I think this is actually probably a screen cap from a video that he was recording of her handing him the set list. So that credit to him for this. But that is actually her handing it to him. He was a legend that night, head banging like a champ. And I think she just felt like she needed to hand him the set list personally. And then there's me and Rob and Max and David Bendeth right there. It was his birthday. Legend, the producer, the man. So I've got these little bits from the Louder Than Life wristband that I was wearing. I'm going to incorporate those on a page. And so here's the thing. I've got in order, wow, I have to think about this for a second. I think this was the next show. This was the first show they played with Hailstorm at the Michigan Lottery Amphitheater, or otherwise known as Freedom Hill. The locals call it Freedom Hill. I got into it with somebody. He got so angry that I was calling it the Michigan Lottery Amphitheater. I said, dude, it's on the sign. Like, it's literally on the sign, much bigger than Freedom Hill. Anyway, so when I take venue photos, I will generally take a few. So in this case, I have a horizontal one and a vertical one, whichever one fits better with the other photos. I recorded the full set. No, I did not. I take that back. I only recorded a few songs with this one. So I have a group photo of the band, but it was too far away at this particular one to get great close-ups. I have since upgraded to an iPhone 14, and I will be getting close-ups no matter where I'm at, but I still have my old iPhone 10 at this show, so close-ups of them while they were playing was pointless. So I got a couple of distant shots of them, and then me with people that I know. There's Jen Rose, love her to death, what a sweetheart. My friend Kent, who I went to the show with, he is definitely becoming a fan, no question. I think he was on the fence for a little while, but he's slowly but surely become a fan. In fact, he told me after that show that he thought The Warning was better than Hailstorm. Now this is going to be really hard to see, especially with this stupid glare. So let me show this photo first. Oops. So the sun was setting. Hailstorm was playing. There's Luis. And you can see Danny for sure on the right. I'm not sure if that's Ale or Pau. I think that's Ale. You can only see two of the three girls. They are in the crowd watching Hailstorm. This was the first time they played with Hailstorm, and it was the first time ever that they got to see Hailstorm live. So they came out and watched the show. They wanted to be out in the crowd and watch Hailstorm like the rest of us. And I was actually recording Hailstorm playing a song that I really wanted to put on YouTube, and I never did. And the reason why I didn't was because halfway through the song, Jen Rose sends me a text message saying, "Did you know that The Warning are sitting right off to your left?" or something along those lines. And I saw that pop up at the top of the screen, and I dropped the phone, screwed up the recording, stopped videoing, and then started taking photos off to my left because I had no idea they were sitting over there. So yeah, there's Luis, and I think that's Ale because of the short hair. Pau still had long hair then, and Danny. And then in this photo, Danny actually turned. You can't really see it, but Danny actually turned. She was looking right at me in this photo. Anyway, cool moment. It was a cool thing to be there watching them watch one of their idols as a fan. And then, of course, I got the Facebook photos that they post with the crowd. And then the Upheaval Festival. That's as close as I was going to get to a venue sign. Stefco and Mike. I said in the last video I wasn't going to be doing like shout outs, different people's names, so I probably shouldn't be doing that. But I couldn't decide on which t-shirt to buy, so I bought both of the new t-shirts at that show. I don't know what this is. And sorry for the photos being like bent and warped. I just printed them off. They're all like, so everything's a little distorted. These girls were just wandering around at the festival. And I don't know what they were exactly. I think they were associated with the festival in some kind of official capacity. Um, but they were basically just wandering around and getting photos taken with people. So I got my photo taken with them. Uh, I, I'm, for lack of a better term, these were the Upheaval girls, I guess. Um, the stage that they played was at the top of a tiny hill, and there wasn't room for a lot of people, but 4 or 5 thousand at the most. It was packed, and those were from Facebook, and I have loads of photos of the girls from this show. I love this one of Ale. That's like the fan caught her hair just right. Great photo. That's going in the album. Kind of an intense look from her there. And some of these aren't going to necessarily going to go in. I do, like I said, I have a reject pile. That one probably will make it. I like that one a lot. Yeah, I got actually this show. I got a lot of great ones from Ale. So, like the Toronto show with Danny, there's just sometimes one of them just is more photogenic than the other. Yeah, that's a good one. And yeah, just Ale was just photogenic that day. It was actually raining the entire time they played, and I'm so glad that I didn't end up getting rain droplets on my lens and ruining it. Coupled with Danny's hair just blowing in her face, but I like photos like that. That's cool. Yeah, several of Danny. There's a very typical Danny right there. Love that face. She makes like the best, sometimes borderline goofy, but just straight up rock and roll faces. Love her. So, good selection there. I'll probably keep 3 of those. And then I actually got some good ones of Pow. Some intense photos of her as well. But again, I only kept a few because so many of them didn't turn out well. Love this one. I love that little side eye. So those are all 3 going in. And then really quickly, Louder Than Life. There were 6 stages at this festival, and these were the 2 main stages. The left one is stage 2, the right one was stage 1. There were 2 stages for local and area bands. There were 2 stages for up-and-coming bands, and there were 2 stages, these 2, for bands that have made it, big-time bands. And The Warning played second on stage 2. And the first band that played on stage 2 was actually a local band or regional band, but they won some kind of a contest to play stage 2 at Louder Than Life. And it was like an upgrade. Local newspaper or somebody did the poll, or a radio station did the poll, and bumped them up. But The Warning was next, and I have the full set on my channel. They had a great introduction from, I believe it was somebody associated with SiriusXM. Really splashed out an awesome introduction for them. And they were the only band that I saw all day that got an introduction like that. It was pretty special. And they and that was by the way, that was a Danny Wimmer festival. Not sure how many festivals he does. I think he just does the big ones. I know that Welcome to Rockville is one, and Louder Than Life and Aftershock. And The Warning has played all 3 of those festivals, and as they kept continuing to play them, they've moved up to bigger stages. Now they're playing Welcome to Rockville again. next month. I'm going to be there. And I have a feeling they're going to be on one of the two main stages this time because they've just kind of been moving their way up. We will see. They'll either be headlining stage 3 or they will be kind of up the list on stage 2. That's kind of what I'm expecting right now. And here's some of the guys that I was hanging out with at Louder Than Life. Somebody kindly grabbed my phone and took a photo of us from a distance because that was my attempt at a selfie. Now, I recorded the full set at this one, so I just took a screen cap from the full set. I have no individual photos of them playing at this one. And then, of course, their Facebook photos. And then the next show was this one, Kitchener, Ontario. And again, don't have a lot of photos from this one. That was the venue, the center in the square. By the way, Kitchener, Ontario, just shout out to that town. It's about the same size as the city that I live in, Fort Wayne, Indiana. About 250,000 people, but it's got such a great walking downtown with mom and pop shops and restaurants and bars and little 3-car electric trains with the wires overhead, you know, sort of like the old-fashioned trolleys. Just a cool little city. And just had a great time. I recorded the full set at this one as well. So I just took the one screen cap. That's Ale sitting down. She was really ill, but such a trooper. And that's it. That's all I've got from that. So that's pretty much it. That's their Facebook photos. These are going in the album tonight. Gonna do a little cutting, little trimming. Gonna get them in the photo album. And then I'm gonna be all caught up, and I'm doing the Atlanta show and the Daytona show in just a couple of weeks, 2.5 weeks. And I am going to England after that, and more to come. But you'll get video from those shows, and you'll get photos going into the photo album from those shows. And I will do a photo album update probably, I think, next time after I get all the photos in the album. I don't think I'll do one of these I'm about to work on the photo album thing. But yeah, it's a Sunday night. I had nothing better to do, and everybody's just kind of sitting around waiting for video to trickle in from the San Diego show and the beginning of the world tour. So I just thought I'd throw this up there and give some people a little fix for the warning. Good night.